don't even understand fully what's happening right now. Sarah J. Maas, you little devil.
She knows she's for the night court. This is so good.
Welcome back to another YouTube video, or welcome if you are new here. I cannot wait to film this video. This is officially part 2 of me doing my reading challenge, reading the entire ACOTAR series. If you haven't watched the first video, make sure you go ahead and watch that one before you watch this one, because this one is gonna be full spoilers, okay? I'm gonna tell you my thoughts as I'm going, because I don't know how you guys do the spoiler-free videos. There's a million spoiler-free videos out there. Before we get into all of that, I just wanted to say that after I finished filming that last video, I literally was thinking like, oh my gosh, it could be weeks before I get off of the waiting list for these books from my public library. And literally 2 days after I was done filming that video and like had filmed the outro, I got a notification on my phone from Libby that I was officially off of the waiting list for the rest of the books except for the last one. So I have book 3 and 4 on my Kindle, and they're already downloaded on there. They're ready to go for this trip that me and Macaulay are about to go on. I read like the intro snippet to like the next book, and I was like, I cannot wait to read the rest of this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this reading. This is gonna be full spoilers, okay? I'm gonna do my best to give you reading updates throughout the book and like stuff that happens and me giving my thoughts and opinions on it. I'll see you guys in a minute. Hello. I was gonna use the mic, but I kind of figured the audio should be okay because we're not on the road. Macaulay is currently inside trying to go get a student ID, but I just kind of wanted to give you an update. I only got to 5% while we were in the car because then we swapped and I drove the rest of the way to the hotel. I just wanted to note, like, I've been trying to listen to these books with a certain playlist. It's called ACOTAR Ambiance. It's on Spotify. I will link it down below. I have never been one of those people who used to listen to like music while they read, especially like words. Like, I feel like if it has lyrics to it and people are singing, it has to be turned down, because then I feel like my brain is like trying to keep track of all of these things going on almost, if that makes sense. I have loved this playlist, all instrumental, so it's all like kind of classic type of music. I will definitely link that playlist in the description box if you guys want to use it at all while you're reading these books or reading any of your fantasy books. We'll see how much reading we get done. Okay, so as you guys saw, I went to Barnes & Noble since Macaulay's still doing all of his orientation stuff. Well, I didn't get any books. There were a couple of like special edition books that I was like, oh my gosh, those are so cute, and I thought about getting them. I'm thinking about asking for like a box set of books for Christmas, possibly. The only thing I came across was like in the Sarah J. Maas universe thing, as you guys saw, they had like those stickers, and they have coloring books. I'm back and I'm just waiting for Macaulay to get out. He has like hour and 15 minutes left, I would say. But I think I'm gonna get some reading done. I'm not gonna film a time lapse just because you guys saw a snippet of me reading later, but if I have any updates throughout my reading, I will let you guys know. I'm only on page 79, but can we talk about, if you've read these books, how well Feyre is like scheming and like planting seeds everywhere for people to turn on each other and like purposely doing things? I love it. She's doing so good. The first book, you see Alice, she's kind of like the maid who helps take care of Feyre and like pick out her clothing and do her hair. She's like literally like her girl at the spring court. Alice is leaving and going back to her home. She's well aware that Feyre was struggling in the spring court and that her and Rhysand like have a bond, and she knows that she's at the spring court to plot and destroy it, so she's getting out. And Feyre was like, whatever you do, don't tell the High Lord of the summer court that you know me. And Alice was confused and she's like, like, I have a blood ruby with my name on it. Basically because in the last book, they stole half of the book to put it together. It says, Alice squeezed my hand, blood rubies or no, you will always have one friend in the summer court. And then she says, my throat bobbed, and you will always have one in mine, I promised her. She knew which court I meant and did not look afraid.
She knows she's for the night court. This is so good.
Oh my gosh. And can we talk about Ianthe? I hate her, dude. I have always hated her. I have literally said I've been sus of her since the beginning, and this book has really made me hate her. She knows that Feyre is way more powerful now and like is doing things to make Ianthe look bad, and Ianthe's falling right into it, like right into the trap that Feyre is setting for her to make herself look bad. So good. Anyways, that's my reading update. So I'm at the part in the book in the very beginning, I'm only 18% of the way through, where Feyre and Lucien have escaped from the spring court after basically wreaking havoc on it, and they're trying to run away. Well, they went into Lucien's land where he grew up, and he hasn't seen his family in years, and his brothers end up finding out that he crossed through, and they were trying to capture Lucien and Feyre to go back to his father. They end up escaping, and then his brothers find him again, but this time Cassian and Azriel found Feyre and are like fighting back and stuff. The Night Court is awesome, dude. Like, so I'm just very happy that like they showed up. I have no clue what's about to happen, but they're fighting it out right now, so can't even. They were like just finished fighting, and Feyre demanded them to stop before they like killed Lucien's brothers. The whole time she had glamour on her arm to cover up the tattoos from her becoming a high lady. It was so funny because it says, I only removed the glamour I kept on myself these weeks. With the sleeve of my jacket and shirt gone, there was nothing but smooth skin where the wound had been. Smooth skin that now become adorned with swirls and whirls of ink, the markings of my new title and my mating bond. She says, I am the high lady of the Night Court. And it says, even Eris stopped sneering, his amber eyes widened, something like fear now creeping into them. There's no such thing as a high lady, one of Lucien's brothers spat. A faint smile played on my mouth. There is now. I should not be having this type of reaction to a book, but I feel like I'm part of the family and I'm witnessing this all, so. This series is too good. This series is too good. This found family is too good. I think Feyre and Rhys are about to reunite after being apart for so long, and so I just want to film my reaction to her getting to see him again. I don't know. It says this chapter is going to be 16 minutes long. I'm going to film my reaction for you guys. So I'm with Macaulay while he's mowing. I completely forgot to pack my camera, so you're getting a phone clip. You're welcome. I'm only 35% of the way through the book. This week has been crazy. I haven't really had an opportunity to read that much, but I did read yesterday while I was working out, as you guys saw. The chapters are really long, so I always feel like I'm making really good progress as a fast reader, and then I'm seeing like I'm really not. But then I have to remind myself it's also a 700-page book, so I feel like 35% is not bad for not having read it that many days. Anyways, moral of the story, this book has been going so good. We're to the part where Feyre got everybody to turn against the spring court. She basically wreaked havoc on it, and Lucien escaped with her. They've been back for a while, but now they're trying to get answers of getting people on their side for the war that's coming. So it's been really good. I do feel terrible for her because she's realizing like how weak she is from like not training, and I'm a little worried about the outcome, especially stuff that they're talking about, like the fact that Rhysand's like, I'll sacrifice my life if it means you have a future. What does that mean? What does that mean? Why are you saying that? You're not giving any context. You're just saying, I will sacrifice my life. You're scaring me a little bit. This book's scaring me just a little bit. I'm on chapter 24. We'll see how much reading I get done. Hello everybody. You guys are getting all kinds of like fun locations in this video. I feel like I've been everywhere. Last update that you guys got, I was in the car while Macaulay was mowing, and I was kind of saying like they were talking about stuff that might go down in the book. Basically, to the part where I've gotten is Feyre has been like trying to talk to her sisters about like the changes that they've experienced experience because they were also reborn as high fae type of creatures. Nesta and Elaine are strange. Like, Elaine kind of isn't there mentally is what it seems like. So they kind of think like she's gone crazy. And then Nesta's just like super angry all the time. And we kind of just recently discovered that she actually was born into something different than a high fae. They think her powers are from death. They keep saying like she stole something from the cauldron. She stole powers from the cauldron. They discovered that some of the stuff that Elaine has been saying this whole time was actually predicting this attack that was going to happen. I don't even understand fully what's happening right now. I'm trying my best to keep you guys in the loop. A whole lot of like training has happening. A whole lot of Farah trying to use her wings and learn to fly and like struggling. It's been all over the place, and I feel like I haven't really filmed a time lapse of me reading for you guys. It's more just been like in time update, and I wanted to do better about that just because the last video I feel like it was a lot of time lapses and then me being like 50% of the way through. It's been good so far, but that's basically where we're at right now. Hello, it is a couple days later. Hopefully the camera is not crooked. It's really hard to find areas in this house to film that also has good lighting, so I tend to be in the same spot. Last you saw, it was a time lapse of me reading while Macaulay was washing his motorcycle. I have like a couple of updates. I've only made it a little bit more into the book. I think I'm about 65-70% of the way through the book. I just finished the scene where they're having where they had like the High Lord meeting. That chapter was so all over the place. I was so confused. It was like everyone trying to come together and work as a team, like all of the different courts. And then they would argue and fight, and then they'd be like, okay guys, that's enough, like let's get along. And it would keep just doing the same thing over and over and over. And Tampon, whatever you want to call him, Tamlin, shows up, and he is the most unhinged. And I was just waiting for the moment where he gets humbled. And then when Rhysand like cuts off his ability to speak, I thought that was so funny. So that chapter was really good. It was just really long and like kind of going on and on and on. I'm like super curious about Nesta because she's been so cold-shouldered, rude like the entire book so far, and then out of nowhere she's like, I'm gonna go with you guys to the meeting. Oh, now you want to be helpful. Now you want to be part of the team. I'm just like curious because I already know like the last book in this series is her book, because I'm very curious. What's her deal? So I will see you guys when I have another update, if it's crazy, or when I'm done with the book and I give you my review. It is me again. Have I finished my book? No. But I did put my Kindle on airplane mode. That way my book would get returned and someone else could read it, but it wouldn't delete from my Kindle. Quite a few things have happened. We're really seeing Nesta and Cassian's relationship start to sort of blossom. My heart broke for poor Elaine when she saw her fiance again and he just like hates her because of what she's become. That part was unbelievably sad. Hello. Lucian might have a different dad than the rest of his brothers. So I'm a little nervous to get to the last 10% because I found out after I edited and published that last YouTube video that apparently Sarah J. Maas loves to dump stuff in the last 10% of all of her books. You just never know what's gonna happen in that last 10%. It's a roller coaster for you to ride along. I'm gonna try to finish it today. That's my goal. I'm gonna get this video uploaded and then we're gonna read the rest of this and finish it. And I will give you guys my final thoughts and review. Okay, I just wanted to talk to you guys really quickly because I just got done in the public library. I finished third book in the ACOTAR series. I'm just gonna give like a really quick because there's really not much that happens unless it's like the first third and then like the last third in my opinion. So in the beginning it picks up off where Farah pretends that she's in love with Tamlin, and so she's pretending and like doing all of this stuff like behind his back to secretly turn his court against him and like destroy it from the inside out. She obviously tries to escape and goes back home, and she's back home and you're seeing her like helping prepare for the war and her training and her learning how to use her wings, and it's really good. And then it just keeps doing like stuff for the war, and then the ending, obviously them like going to fight. And then the book literally ends on so much happening. Like you see Lucian come back with this group of people who have been hidden for centuries. You see their dad come back and he dies. You see Nesta kill the King of Hybern. And then you see Amren kind of deceive Feyre into casting a spell on the cauldron to like basically let her free. She lets her free, and when she's free, she's like evil. So she like literally kills the whole army in like a split second. She, I guess, dies, and Rhysand dies trying to help Feyre, and then they both come out together back from the cauldron, except Amren's not like a weird vampire-y girl, she's like a high fae now. A whole bunch happens. But the book ended where basically she holds her own meeting. She's like trying to re-establish a treaty between everybody, and she's trying to make some tweaks this time around because they don't want to go to war ever again, basically. There are some really fun and light-hearted moments, but I was sad because they talk about like them having to bury their dad, and it's just like so heartbreaking. That's where I'm at right now. I'm really excited to finish the series, but also kind of sad. I'm gonna go ahead and head home, and I will see you guys when I have another reading update. I wanted to quickly mention, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm in a sweater. It has been like raining and super crisp, cooler breeze the last 2 days, and it's really giving fall weather, and I'm very excited. I'm so excited. Okay, a quick little reading update. Hopefully you guys can hear me because there's a lot of appliances going on in the background. I wanted to give you guys an update because I'm literally almost finished with this book. This book is basically post-war that they went through in the third book, and then you're just seeing like everyone's perspective of them preparing for winter solstice, which is like this big like wintry festival that they prepare for. It's really cool in this book because we get Feyre's point of view, we get Rhysand, and then they kind of talk about like Cassian more. I think we get Amren, and I don't know if we get Azriel or not. Maybe we do get Azriel, I can't remember. It's really cool to like see everyone's perspective. The only thing I will say is like when you're in Cassian and Moore's point of view, it's like almost like third person, so that did throw me off a bit because you're kind of seeing them all like adjusting to normal life post-war. We just saw a scene where Elaine and Feyre went to this like one of the little shops, and the lady was saying that she lost her husband and her only regret was like them not having a kid or anything like that before he left, and they had been married for like 500 years. Feyre was like, that gives me an idea of what I'm gonna get Rhysand for the solstice, because like it's a big like gift giving thing, and it's also Feyre's birthday, and so I have a feeling she's gonna say she wants to have kids. Why else would they put that right after that? So I am curious. I wonder if she's gonna find out she's pregnant in this book or not, or if say they're gonna have kids and then we find out that she has kids in another book. No, Nesta has a lot going on, but she just irritates me. Like in this book, she's a jerk, like to her siblings and stuff. I don't know, like just to everybody. She's very like closed off. It's basically like, you have your life and I have mine, like keep me out of it and stuff. Like I don't want to come eat dinner with you guys. I don't want to come hang out with your little band and stuff. It's been interesting to see stories about each person that you hear in the first like 3 books, and then to actually read like what happened. Like we kind of hear a snippet of a story of what happened to Moore, and then Moore kind of replays it in her head, and so you kind of get like the full story of what happened to her. A lot of people said they didn't like this book and they felt like it was unnecessary. It definitely is like a filler book, but I loved it because a lot happens in book 3. All over the place, very emotional and stuff, and so I feel like this was a good breath of fresh air, a little slice of life, like happiness post-war. And then I'm gonna read the last book on my Kindle. I'm gonna finish this and then I'll see you guys when it's time to start the last book. Hello, it has been a hot minute since we've talked, but I'm officially 48% of the way through the book, and I just have a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share. So obviously in this book, we're following Nesta, especially post-war and like post her being turned into High Fae. There's just like a lot to her character. She's very complex. There's a lot that's like going on with her and why she behaves the way she behaves. But I just feel like even as I'm nearing the 50% mark, like I'm literally almost at the 50% mark, I feel like there's still a lot that like needs to be uncovered about her. And obviously we've seen her grow and develop a little bit. In the beginning of the book, the inner circle of the Night Court is like, okay, you have been in these like really destructive patterns. They cut her off and they send her to the House of Wind, and they basically tell her like, okay, you're actually gonna train with Cassian. If you don't train and like you don't get better, like we're just gonna dump you at the human land. She sits on her butt for like the first several times that Cassian goes to train, and she also works in the library of the House of Wind. You're seeing her develop these relationships with people who work in the House of Wind, and if you've read the series, you know like in the House of Wind, a lot of them are people who have come from really sad pasts, and Rhysand's kind of like rescued them, so they have almost like a sanctuary of somewhere safe to be and to live their life. She finally eventually accepts Cassian's offer to train, and she starts training, and you see her go through her training, and she ends up convincing a lot of other people to train with her that work in the library. For a while, when I was reading like the first 30% of this book, she just kept doing things that made me really not like her. I understand she's gone through a lot and she kind of has a tortured past, trying to like, you know, like give her the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, she's gonna get better. I think she just needed someone patient like Cassian who was willing to continually put himself out there. Her most powerful weapon is her tongue. Like the words and the cruelest things that she will say to her family. I was like shook at the scene where they find out that Feyre's pregnant. So Feyre tells Nesta, like, it's a boy, I want you to know that. Like no one else knows. Not even Elaine knows, because Elaine was the first person who figured out that Feyre was pregnant. And Nesta's reply was basically like she didn't want her pity because she's just keeping score on treating Elaine and Nesta fairly. I have some predictions in my head of what's gonna happen, because they're talking about Feyre's pregnancy being a risk because her baby has wings and her pelvis wasn't designed to give birth for wings and it's super deadly. And then they're talking about Nesta's gift is literally death. I have a feeling Feyre's gonna die, Nesta's gonna save her, and that's gonna be like her redeeming arc almost. I don't know what's gonna happen. If anything else crazy happens, I will give you guys another book update. Okay, this is such a like weird angle for me. I put you guys on top of my water bottle. I wanted to say that I completely finished the ACOTAR series so far. It is complete. Obviously, I think there's some more books coming out. It was a rough ride, okay? Felt like after the 50% mark, I was having a really hard time picking up this book and finishing it. I have like my biggest complaint with the book, and it's that to me, it didn't need to be like 800 pages long for this story. I just felt like the pacing was a little bit off. We open the book, we pick up on Nesta's story, seeing her destructive behavior and what her family is planning to do to kind of get her out of this little funk. So you're seeing literally all these steps being taken in the first like 20% of the book, and then I feel like not really much is happening for 30%, and then she starts training with Cassian and Azriel, and then it just kind of seems like it was repetitive. She works in the library, she trains with Cassian and Azriel, her and Cassian kind of start having a relationship. This seemed like it wasn't really going anywhere. We would get information from other storylines that were going on in this book, them dealing with their alliance with Eris, and then we would get bits and pieces of information about Feyre's pregnancy and those complications. It just seemed like there was not any steady pacing, and it was like I would feel lost in the book sometimes. That was my biggest complaint with the book. A lot of the book's focus is like focusing on why Nesta is so dysfunctional in the last two books that you read. We would get like pieces of her, you know, realizing how terrible she was and like wanting to change her behavior, and then like nothing changed, and I was like, okay, well, she's obviously not going to change overnight. To me, I felt like there was no growth or development or some character breakthrough or her realizing like where these issues are coming from. And then it was like all of a sudden she said something unbelievably evil by telling her sister that she was gonna die if she gave birth because no one was gonna tell her that. And so she's the one who breaks that news to her on purpose. She meticulously does this. She knows she doesn't know. Her and Cassian are like hiking for these couple of days, and then out of nowhere she breaks down and has like amazing revelation of what's wrong with her. What? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. She had the last like 60% of the book, all this time to kind of like piece together and like slowly start realizing what her deal was and slowly working through these issues and patching up these relationships. I didn't really know how to feel about that. One thing that I could call about this book is because of Nesta's powers and like them talking about the risk of Feyre giving birth, predicted in my head that she was going to be the one to save Feyre from dying when she gives birth. I was just a little worried that Sarah J Maas was going to write it like, this is her redeeming arc, like this is what she does so everybody loves her. Kind of was that way with her and Rhysand. Her and Rhysand hated each other, and Nesta saves her, and then Rhysand gets down on his knees, thanks her, and then everything was apparently fine and dandy with them after that. I did think like seeing her save Feyre wasn't gonna have any sort of impact, because in my mind I kind of already predicted that that was gonna happen. My husband doesn't even know this. I was low-key choking back some tears in the car while I was reading those chapters. Stuff that she says and like realizes and the things she does within the last 10% of the book was very touching. I don't know. It was a really good book, but there was definitely some flaws to it for me, and feeling like I was literally never going to finish this book. So it is probably a 4.5, but the whole series was really good, and it makes me excited to read more fantasy books. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me read the series and my opinions, and let me know what your guys' opinions are, or if there's any series you really want to see me read. That's all I have for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!